So hi everyone again. We will now be understanding the architecture of how a plugin system will work for our browser. So to understand it better, let's zoom it. First, what our main goal is that we will have the browser will be always run in a main thread. So we will run this Talawa application in our main thread. The Talawa application, the main thread application will start the iframe. Main thread starts an iframe. Then this iframe will create web workers. These web workers are a background thread. These background thread can be used to do some computationally extensive tasks. This is the prime reason of why web workers exist, so that they don't block the main thread. Web workers were designed so that all the high computational tasks can be done in our web worker. But in our case, we won't do a very high computational task, or we may do it if a plugin needs it. But our main goal is to isolate our plugin process from our main process, and as we can't have multiple processes in the in our browser, there's only one process. We can somehow start this in a background thread. This will be very similar. We will isolate it. This is isolated from our main thread, so it doesn't disturb the main thread. So if, for example, let's say if my plugin code crashes, it won't affect the main thread. But if I was starting this plugin code in my main thread, then if my plugin code crashes, the main thread code also crashes, and the whole browser goes down somehow, or the whole application goes down somehow. So this is not a good approach. Of course, the good approach is to isolate our plugin code and plugin files and keep it in a very separate manner. For example, two plugins will be executed by a web worker 1, and two plugins can be executed by web worker 2. To be honest, this is not what we would want. We would want all the plugins to be executed in one web worker. But the reason why we made web worker 2 was, let's say one plugin requires very high computational task, right? Then we can offload that high computational task to another web worker, or even better, we can just keep that whole plugin in another web worker. We can decide this based on calculating the computation, or calculating how much API calls, or how much database calls, or how much computation each plugin is doing. And if this plugin hits a threshold limit, then we can easily shift this plugin to another web worker. And this is how plugin 3 and 4 were shifted to web worker 2, assuming that they take a lot of time, lot of computational power. We can easily start them in another web worker, and they can easily be handled there, and these web workers can easily communicate using RPC, using post message or message channel. We will use the RPC protocol here, which is very well explained in the documentation, in our proposal. So then, after once web worker has been started, these web workers can communicate with the main thread and can communicate with the main thread here as well. The reason why I have mentioned Talawa admin is because our browser app is right now called Talawa admin. There is no admin functionality. Don't misunderstand this, that this is only available for admin. It is not. It is just because of our browser application is called Talawa admin. That's why the Talawa admin name is referred here for easier understanding. But this is how a web worker based architecture will look like in our Talawa plugin architecture. Thank you.